I hope wherever you are in the world, you are living in love. And I really mean that, because today we are going to talk about me buying a one-way ticket to Paris when I was 50. A few years ago, I had the year from hell. If you would like to listen to that video, it's already posted. I went through a divorce. I went through a huge bankruptcy. I had a falling out with my family. Pretty much everything that was keeping me here in America. Oh, it was a tough year. Through all of that, I saw my youngest son, who was 17, traveling the world. And I was so scared for him.
Are you doing a video on purpose?
I love you.
I love you,
Michael, I love you.
I'm headed to Egypt for 2 weeks, and she's just slightly nervous.
But I was also so impressed with how brave he was. I was feeling like I wanted something new in my life. And so I decided to buy a one-way plane ticket to Paris. It was literally one of the hardest things I've ever done. Getting into the airport, not speaking French, not knowing how to use currency, not knowing where I was, having to get from the airport, which is an hour outside of Paris, to my hostel, which is in the middle of Paris, was literally an event of my life. I don't know how to use Google Translate. I was literally crying. But I have a nice smile, and so I would just ask people for help. So I would walk to the train station, and finally, like 6 hours later, I got to my hostel. And the first place I went was the Sacré-Cœur. When I was in Paris, I would walk around on the streets. I would walk to the Eiffel Tower. I would walk through the museums. And I literally felt the expectations and the labels that I had put on myself, that I had allowed my society to put on me, they literally melted away. And then one night when I was in my hostel, and one of the friends that I had met there, we were just talking about different places that they had traveled, and they were talking about Morocco. And I had always had like this desire to go to Morocco, and so I decided to buy a one-way plane ticket to Morocco. And I went, and it was amazing. The people were so loving. The food was incredible. I started surfing. Well, I started trying to surf. Remember, I'm 50 years old at this point, and I had a lot of fun trying to learn to surf. I made some amazing friends. I learned so much about an entire different culture of people. Listening to the prayers go off 5 times a day, and seeing people that were as devoted to their religion as I had been to mine was so inspiring. Being in Morocco taught me to unconditionally love more fully. Being with people who believed completely different than I did, but that were some of the most amazing people that I have ever met, taught me to love unconditionally on a whole new level. Then I traveled to a few other countries, and then I bought another one-way ticket to Portugal. You'll find that I buy a lot of one-way tickets. I fell in love with a man in Portugal. He was so dreamy. I love him still. And he is one of the greatest gifts of my life. I lived in Portugal. I did business in Portugal. I almost opened up a hostel in Portugal. And then after living in Portugal, we moved to Spain, into this beautiful little town called Ayamonte, where the water for literally a mile into the ocean is bathwater temperature, and only knee deep. And I would lay in the water and just play. One of the greatest things about traveling was letting go of every expectation and label that I had ever put on myself. I knew that I got to choose, that I was living the life that I wanted to live. And I felt completely free, knowing that I could do whatever I wanted to do, that I was loved completely for being me, was one of the most empowering experiences I have ever had. So I'm back in America, it's a couple years later, and I am on my way to Mexico next because international travel is the best. You get to meet people that are completely different, cultures that you have no frame of reference for, practices that are completely new, and take your mind and your heart to a whole new place. If you have never stayed in a hostel in another country, you are missing out. And I am going to invite you that sometime in your life that you go somewhere completely out of your comfort zone and experience a whole new way of life. I was 50 years old before I started international traveling by myself. Since then, I've been to 10 countries. It's not as much as my son. He's 20, and he's been to probably 20 countries. But in a few weeks here, I'm going to Mexico. And I'm so excited because I can't wait to meet the people, see the country, eat the food, experience a different culture, and be with people who are completely different, but also the same as me. Because one of the things that international travel has taught me is that it does not matter what our religion is, what our race is, our gender, or our nationality. We are all human. And living in love on this planet is the most important thing we can do.